Why did Poland's borders shift so dramatically after World War II? How did a nation once defined by its pre-war geography emerge from the ashes of war with an entirely new map? Let's explore the story of Poland's transformation and the complex negotiations behind its post-war fate. At the beginning of World War II, Poland looked one way, but by the end, its borders had changed dramatically, losing territory to the east while gaining former German lands to the west. This raises the question, how did such a drastic shift come to be? Throughout the war, the major Allied powers, Britain and the United States, were in constant negotiations about Poland's future. Initially, they hoped to restore the pre-war Polish government, which would then be part of the discussions. However, as the Red Army advanced through Eastern Europe, it became evident that Stalin had other intentions. The Soviet Union wanted a secure buffer between itself and Germany. This meant that Poland would have to give up territory in the east while expanding westward into German lands. Many of Poland's pre-war inhabitants were Ruthenians, Russians, Ukrainians, or Belarusians, and Stalin sought to incorporate these groups into the USSR. While much of this was decided in the earlier Molotov-Ribbentrop Pact, there were still many who were unhappy with the outcomes. In response, Stalin formed his own Polish government, which quickly fell in line with Soviet interests. The agreement forged between Stalin and the new Polish leadership stipulated that Poland would lose territory in the east, but in return, it would gain significant lands in the west. This arrangement was not made out of kindness. Rather, Stalin wanted to ensure the changes didn't appear to be dictated solely by his whims. It was crucial for the Allies to maintain the facade of having made these decisions through negotiation rather than submission to a dictator. During the Potsdam Conference in 1945, the Allies formally agreed that Poland's western borders would shift significantly, but this was seen as a temporary solution until a more permanent arrangement could be established. So why these specific territories? For one, transferring them to Poland meant that any resurgent Germany would now face a more industrialized neighbor, with a large river acting as a natural border. Furthermore, the destruction of East Prussia and the transfer of Gdansk to Poland effectively eliminated the territorial tensions that had fueled the war. The plan was to populate Poland's newly acquired lands with Poles living in the USSR and those who had faced repression under Stalin. By settling millions in these areas, any future unified Germany would find it difficult to claim these territories, especially once the Cold War set in. With no further Allied conferences to redefine Poland's borders, the temporary adjustments soon became permanent. In the end, Poland's westward shift marked a significant transformation both geographically and politically, completing a journey that reshaped the nation for generations to come. As we reflect on this complex history, it's essential to consider how the decisions made during these negotiations still resonate in the political landscape of Europe today.